losing in life is so important. Whether it's getting dumped, getting fired, losing a game, loss. Those feelings where things didn't work out your way, that's important because it lets you know this is the bad feeling that comes when it goes wrong, and you improve, and then it makes the good feelings of victory all the better.
Adversity makes the strong stronger, the weak weaker. We need adversity in our life. We need to be competitive to enhance the world. There's no good, there's no bad, it's how you perspective. Whatever you believe is true.
Being willing to fail, being willing to lose will create such a competitive advantage for you because most people can't do it.
And so nothing is easy. It sucks, but you have a choice to make. Do you want to sit down and go back to that guy you once were? No. So this is what it takes.
This too shall pass. That governs absolutely everything.
Most people can't be seen falling on their face. Most people are unwilling to try new things because they overanalyze and they think, well, what if I do this and this happens? Well, my counter to that would be, well, what if you don't do it? You're gonna stay the fucking same. So our options are to stay the same or to actually be willing to fail.
What would I do if I weren't afraid? And what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And the idea that I will never wish for fewer epic stories at the end of my life. And I've never regretted failures. I've always regretted things that I didn't try. And so just along those lines of trying to create more bias internally towards action rather than inaction, and normalizing consequences of failure as we said earlier, win or learn.
So for me, everything has to be in the study. Everything has to be into this. Everything has to be in everywhere I am. It has to be there. Me. Focused where I am.
Yo, we all are great. We all should think that we're great. There's no reason for you to not think that you're great. If you don't think you're great, ask yourself why. Why don't you think the highest of yourself?
Being consistent doesn't guarantee that you'll be successful, but not being consistent will guarantee that you won't reach success.
The rewards you get in terms of self-esteem and self-story, what you think of yourself, will be correlated to the size of the commitment you keep when no one is watching. So if you say to yourself, I'm going to do this, when no one is watching, we don't think it's important to keep those commitments. We think lying to ourselves there's no punishment for that. I actually think the greatest consequence in life is not keeping commitments to yourself. I think it compounds as personal evidence, which is deposited in this instruction manual of who you are and how you behave and how you show up and what you're capable of. All those tiny little commitments, like you don't have to move Mount Everest, you don't need to go on a 7-day ayahuasca retreat. How about when you said you were going to get in bed at 10 p.m, you do that? The commitments we keep to ourselves, if we say those are the most important things for compounding that evidence in our favor, everybody can start there today. But the next thing you do in the next hour, can you keep that commitment to yourself?
I tell people to write things down. I say one of the best ways to get things done is to write things down. Write down what you're trying to get done. Write down what you need to get done on a long-term basis and what you need to get done on a short-term basis. And write off a checklist. Force yourself. Be accountable.
If you ask people what they regret, especially as they get older, what they generally report is things not done. So they don't regret so much mistakes they've made, although of course people obviously regret mistakes they've made as well. So they don't exactly regret sins of commission. They torment themselves for opportunities that had presented themselves that they did not, let's say, exploit or engage in.
God ain't gonna give up on his purpose for you. Whatever God has for you, he gonna see to it that happens, because that's for him. And whatever lessons that you have to incur because you've made bad decisions, that's on you. But whatever he has for you, no man, no situation, and not even the ill-informed or ill-instinct decisions that you make can get in the way of that. Because whatever fate has for you, fate has for you. Whatever God got for you, no man can get in the way of.
To believe in God is to commit your life. That's the most difficult possible commitment by definition. That's what the belief is. It isn't the statement, I believe in God. The statement can get in the way. It does all the time.
The more time you spend alone with yourself, the more time that you will be able to understand who you are. When I mean understand who you are, I'm talking about without any outside interference, without any friends, without any peer pressure of wanting to be like someone else. The more time you spend alone, you're going to figure out what your purpose is. And I say that because of this. God will talk to you. You start seeking in those moments of not having any outside distractions. What happens is things become clear. Clarity sets in.
I would rather be a failure than a coward. No one wants to say they're afraid, because if you say you're afraid, then it means you're a coward. And I think that it only means you're a coward if you allow that fear to change your behavior in an aversive way, as in not towards what you want. And I think that when you allow fear to change your behavior the wrong way, that is when you can give yourself that title of coward. That label is almost, I'm more afraid of that label than the label of failure.
When you're in a bad spot in life and your mind is saying all kind of shit, that's who you really are. That's the real you. That's where the growth happens. When you're able to stay in that moment and talk yourself back into the suck of wherever you're going through, and you start stripping those layers away, but as you're stripping those layers away, you're building calluses over top of shit in your mind. That's where the growth starts to happen, is when you have to force yourself to stay in it.
The heaviest things in life aren't iron and gold, but unmade decisions. The reason you are stressed is that you have decisions to make, and you're not making them.
You got to get through it. You got to get through bad feelings. You got to get through failure. It's very important. And you get through it by just picking yourself back up and moving forward and going. But it's hard for a lot of people because that sting, they never get over it, the feeling of failure. And they don't have a good support system, like good friends. Like having a good community of friends is very, very important, because you could feel like down, like if a girl broke up with you and you feel like you're the worst, you're a fucking loser, like you're a piece of shit. But then you go out with your friends and you have a few laughs, and next thing you know, you're laughing and you're like, I'm all right. We'll be all right.
If you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them. And the difficult part of the lonely chapter is that the Rocky cutscene lasts 90 seconds in the movie and lasts 5 years in reality.
With no promise of it ever ending. No guarantee of glory.
People say I'm an overthinker, but I'm better to be an overthinker than an underthinker. My brain's active and it works, and I'm searching for ways to improve, and there's just something in me that knows I can get better. There's just something in me that keeps on telling myself, like, I'm getting better, I can get better. If I get better, what happens? I beat someone, I win. And what happens when I win? I become champion.
Well, it happens small until it happens big. Tiny little things repeated over time is what produces dramatic change. And it's like this curve, it's like this very slow curve until it asymptotes up. And when you drill that down into the tiniest little things that you're doing every single day and try to repeat that with just rigorous, relentless consistency, that is how you move mountains, that's how you build mountains, that's how you change your life.
The most important thing is probably keep betting on yourself and bet again and roll the dice and roll the dice. What happens as you get older is you realize that these opportunities were in front of you and you didn't jump for them. Why? You were in a bad mood, or you didn't know who to call, or so forth. Life can be understood as a series of opportunities that are put before you, and they're time limited. So your philosophy in life should be to say yes to that opportunity. And yes, it's painful, and yes, it's difficult, and yes, you have to deal with your family, and yes, you have to travel to some foreign place and so forth. Get on the airplane and get it done.
There's a very small group of people in the world that the world does not understand, who don't know how to stop. Whatever you tell them, whatever you give them, they don't know how to stop. They're gonna get what they want, or they're gonna, this line goes, die trying. They're gonna give their best to figure out exactly what they want in life. And it's gonna be an interesting journey. If you're one, you're gonna enjoy it. If you're watching it, you're gonna enjoy the movie.
I think what you were bringing up with Joey is a real good point, that a lot of people say, I just want to sort of, they're kind of dabbling in the idea of improving themselves. And the real way to do it is you got to write down what the fuck you want and then go after it. Because otherwise you live in sort of a wishy-washy world. If you decide, I'm going to get down to bang, I'm going to do this, I'm going to run a marathon in less than 5 hours, I'm going to, whatever the fuck it is, you got to write that shit down and go for it.
If you can learn a lesson when you make the mistake and not make the mistake twice, and you're gritty enough to not quit, you have what it takes to succeed, but it's going to take time, and it's going to be hard, and you're not going to live the same life as all of your friends and all of your family, and they're not going to understand it, and they're going to criticize you, and they're going to laugh at you, and they're going to make jokes about it, because that's not the path that they are on.
For the most part, you're going to run into challenges in life, and if you curl up into a ball and complain about it, that's not going to help you. And if you say, okay, cool, good, here's some adjustments I can make to move forward, that's going to be a better move than than cowering.
When you come out of the storm, you won't be the same person that walked into it. That's what the storm is all about. When you can't control what's happening to you, control how you respond to it. That's where your power is.
What I tell people is the best advice that I've ever heard, it's the best advice I ever came up with, is that live your life like you're the hero in your movie. And right now is when the fucking movie starts and your life is a shitbag disaster. Like, pretend that's you. Pretend you are, right now, you're in the part of the movie that starts and it shows you as a fucking loser. And just decide not to be a loser anymore. Live your life like there's a documentary crew following you around and you are analyzing your own behavior.
They're going to talk to you about things like balance. So it's very difficult in the beginning for a young person to go down the path, because once they step into that path, they meet resistance from literally everywhere they go. They're meeting resistance from their friends, their family. They're getting made fun of on the internet. They're being asked, like, are you sure? Are you sure? And they're being told, don't forget where you came from, man. Don't forget to be humble. You know, you're getting a little too materialistic. You know, you're getting a little greedy there.
You're always afraid to take the first step because all you see is every negative thing 10 miles down the road. But you can do anything you want. You are bound by nothing.
The mindset of a winner, which is a winner does more than expected every single time, no matter how they feel, no matter the circumstances. A winner shows up 10x times more than the average person. A winner has these unreasonable expectations of himself. A winner knows that he's destined for greatness. And no matter how many people around him tell him to slow down, be careful, watch out, that's too risky. You don't have the genetics, the DNA, the money, the mind, the brain power for that. A winner locks onto their fucking goals and keeps going. That's what the winner does.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. I think that's what greatness is or should be. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever.
Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. The minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it.
That's a lesson that people need to hear and learn. It's so important because everybody just wants to be comfortable. Everybody wants to sit on the couch. I don't want to go outside, it's cold. I don't want to do this, it's hot. Like, you've got to do things that you don't want to do because you show your body that your mind is the boss. Your mind is telling your body what to do, and then you have control.
Because like I said, if you and I got to get in the water to go conduct an operation, the motivation to do that will be zero, might even be -9, might be -12, might be -1,000. And you know what? Doesn't matter. You and I are going to go do what we have to do.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it.
Really was.
Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up. Every single day, your mind is the one that tells you, get up. And your feelings like, an extra 30 minutes, just roll this. Don't worry about it. And your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Listen, it's not the popular decision. You are going to hurt. You are going to piss a lot of people off.
Yep.
All right. Are you going to piss them off for the short term? Or are you going to piss them off for the long term?
Everybody thinks the biggest wins are the trophy or the money or the house or the lifestyle. That's not the biggest win, bro. The biggest win is that time where you almost quit but didn't. Because without those wins, the other wins are impossible to achieve. The real wins is when you'd rather do anything else than what it is you're supposed to do and you still do it. That's the biggest win you could ever have as a human being.
If you are insecure, guess what? The rest of the world is too. Do not overestimate the competition and underestimate yourself. You are better than you think.
If you want to get somewhere specific, then you better take control of the wheel. And you better drive that car where you want it to go. Grab the steering wheel and drive your life where you want it to be. Do not just let things happen. You have to be default aggressive and make things happen.
I mean, it sucks. Every time I do it, I'm like, don't do it. Don't. There's like the part of me that's like my inner bitch. It's like, oh, we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. But luckily, the general is stronger than the inner bitch. The general is always telling, shut the fuck up and get in there. And I just get in there every day. That inner bitch is always talking, though. He never shuts up. Never shuts up. Don't ever think that it, like, even though I do it every day, anybody who's like, I don't know how you do it. I don't know how I do it either, but I fucking do it. I make sure I do it. I'm the boss.
There's only one thing a friend of mine years ago taught me when I was coming up and I was deciding if I was going to do this, if I was going to pursue this life. And he's an Indian friend of mine. And he said, Abnahito Kab. And I think that means if not now, then when. So whatever you want to do, abnahi 𝐇𝐚𝐫𝐝.
I tell young men, it's like, find something difficult to do. You need that. You're not built for comfort or pleasure. Like if that comes along, good. You know, if you have a day where you're comfortable and there's some things around you that give pleasure, have some sense and enjoy it. But don't be thinking that's what your life is aimed at. That's contemptible. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. And if they orient themselves in that hedonistic direction, there's nothing in it but shame.
It is really about the journey.
Yeah.
It's just hard when you're when you're not where you want to be in life, and if you're listening to this and you're just not satisfied with your position in life. It's hard to think that way. All you want is that thing, but you gotta somewhere along the line figure out how to enjoy yourself. Somewhere along the line, figure out how to just go as hard as you can, but also enjoy it. Try to enjoy it, because that changes the whole tone of the experience, and I think that makes you more successful.
Success is, there's a lot less learned in success. It's like the tip of the iceberg. It's the losses and it's the failures and it's the continuously, just the perseverance that you need to do. Like, I love that image of the iceberg where you see the sea level and the iceberg on the top that everyone sees, but below is what people don't get to see, and it's relevant for every single person out there. It's finding your core. It's letting yourself know it's okay to feel the pain. It's okay to accept that you're failures, and put it on you. It's like it's just another notch on your belt that is going to make you stronger, and just knowing that is the case.
If you can list the fucked up things that have happened in your life, and you can put that on a list, and you somehow made it past all of this to be in a position where you can still go make some stuff happen, that's what you have in common with every hero of every story, of every autobiography, of every... Wow. Is how much happened to you that should have broke you, that did not break you, so that you were able to then...
And even if you're not where you want to be in life, and you're grinding and you're on that hustle...
And there's a lot of people like that, right?
Yeah, I get it. Keep grinding, but also appreciate it. Appreciate that hustle. Appreciate this thing. Appreciate this fucking beautiful, chaotic, unknown existence you're in.
Thing we call life.
Yeah, that you don't know what the fuck is gonna happen. It's open-ended. It's wide.
Man.
It's a complete open loop experience. You don't know what the fuck is coming next, and you're just trying to enjoy the ride.